Elden Ring's new DLC expansion arrives on June 21st, and I am so psyched. Sort of terrified, but mainly psyched. So here are the things that you'll need to do to prepare for your venture into the Land of Shadow. For starters, there are 2 bosses you'll need to defeat to access the DLC. The Blood Monarch Mogh and Starscourge Radahn. If you've already played Elden Ring, then you've probably already done the latter, but just in case you're thinking of picking it up for the first time, here's the deal on Radahn. Radahn can be found over in the Wailing Dunes of Caelid, and the first thing you'll notice about old Radahn is that he is large. Very, very large. Unsurprisingly, getting clobbered by a dude that size seriously hurts, but the good news is that there are a bunch of summon signs scattered all over the place, allowing you to tag in a range of different NPCs to help you out. Although even with your buddies backing you up, it's still pretty tough, so you'd want to have leveled up and get some rune farming in beforehand. Mogh is an even trickier late game boss who resides in a secret underground lair called Mogh Palace. Just getting to him can be difficult, although there are actually 2 methods. If you go to the Rose Church in Lurnia and undertake Var's quest to invade another player 3 times in PvP, you'll be rewarded with an item that teleports you straight to that place. Alternatively, you can clamber up to the top of the mountaintop of giants, where there is a secret sending gate. Whichever route you take, you'll be in for a pretty tasty fight, so again, it's probably best not to race straight there if you're new to the game. Also, added bonus, make sure you've picked up Mogh's shackle from the subterranean shunning grounds beneath Glendale, so you can stun him with it like you did in the market fight. When both these big bads are dead, you're free to access the Shadow of Erdtree content, the entrance to which is conveniently located in a giant cocoon next to Mogh Palace. When you beat Elden Ring and start a new game plus, you get to keep most of those fancy late game gear and items that have made you feel like such a baller. But this being a From Software game, you'll also have to deal with enemies who are even more powerful than they were the first time around, just to stop you from getting too big for your banished knight boots. Shadow of the Erdtree actually features its own distinct scaling system, which works a bit like the one found in Sekiro, tweaking attributes like attack power across the board so that every player gets to face enemies at an approachable difficulty level. And that goes whether you're working with a majestically over-leveled character or you're 7 new game plus runs deep already. There are other pros and cons to consider. New Game Plus players have often used up a lot of important but very limited items already, so you might not have stuff like great runes and bell bearings to call on during the DLC. On the other hand, you most likely have hit a high enough level to take advantage of the larval tier, which allows you to totally respec your character, which might come in super handy if you find that your trusty old build isn't best suited to the new challenges found in Shadow of the Erdtree. Which reminds me, what kind of build are you running at the moment? A super strong Womp build, a bleed build, or have you gone down the frenzied flame route? Let me know in the comments. So whether you're using a fresh character or a new game plus one, you'll definitely want to make sure that they're well equipped as possible before heading into the Land of Shadow. Finding as many golden seeds and sacred tears as you can is a must, since these things really juice up your flasks, allowing you to replenish your health and FP more freely. You can find them all over the map, and they really are worth scouring around for. When it comes to sacred tears and golden seeds, you really do reap what you sow. You'll also want to make sure that you've got some good talismans on the go to help you out in the DLC. There are loads of good options, and the best pick kind of depends on your build, but some safe bets are the Great Jar's Arsenal, which greatly increases your carry capacity, the Assassin's Crimson, and the Cerulean Daggers, which restore HP and FP when you land a critical hit, and the Erdtree's Favor, which boosts your health and stamina and equip load. Plus it fits that whole Erdtree theme we have going. Naturally, you're going to want to have your weapons and gear leveled up as high as possible before taking on the DLC. If you run in wielding nothing but a basic broadsword, then you're gonna look pretty silly and dead. The best way to quickly upgrade your stuff is to track down the various bell bearings. Give one of them to the Twin Maiden husks in the Round Table Hold, and in return, you'll now be able to purchase all the upgrade materials you need. It's an especially good idea to round up the bell bearings before taking on the DLC, because Shadow of the Erdtree promises to provide players with a whole bunch of deadly new toys to play with, including 8 brand new weapon types. They say if you want to go far, go together, so making sure that you've got some good Spirit Ash summons on your side is a must before heading into the DLC's unknown territory. There are loads to pick from, and you'll want to experiment to find the summons that work best for you, but it's definitely worth swinging by Nokrin to pick up the Mimic tier, which creates an exact clone of your character right down to their current weapons. While you're there, you can also grab the Great Shield Soldiers. This band of shield-bearing fellows is great for hiding behind when it all gets a bit too much for you. Leveling up your Spirit Ashes is also a must, and as with the weapons, you can make this process a whole lot smoother by grabbing the Glovewort Picker's Bell Bearings, which lets you buy all the Glovewort you want from the Twin Husk Maidens. Sure to come in handy when you encounter some shiny new Spirit Ashes out in the Land of Shadow. Runes are another thing that you'll need to stock up on before you hit the road, since they're vital to leveling up, improving your gear, and generally fueling the journey of gentle self-improvement that is the true heart of Elden Ring. The good news is that Mogh's Palace, the place that you'll be heading to start the DLC, is a brilliant place to farm runes. Talk about convenient. The Palace Approach Ledge Road Site of Grace will take you directly to an area filled with slumbering Albinauric enemies and one very angry but not especially clever giant crow, both of whom are an easy source of sweet, sweet runes. To speed the whole process up, you can also nab the Gold Scarab Talisman by defeating the Clean Wrought Knight in Caelad's Abandoned Cave. It increases your rune rate by 20%, which is pretty good for a shiny bug that you found in a cave. All the previous tips will help you survive in Shadow of the Erdtree, but what if you'd also like to know what exactly the heck is going on? As with every From Software game, the storytelling in Elden Ring is subtle, and it's very easy to miss a lot of stuff while unholy monsters are trying to grind you into a fine paste. Case in point, the star of the DLC, Miquella, never actually appears in the main game. But there are a few places you can look to learn a little more about them before you enter their domain. Know thy enemy and all that. Now, Miquella is actually Malenia's twin, so beating her might be a good idea. That is easier said than done, since she is one of the hardest bosses in the entire game, if not all of Souls. But since the developers have promised even tougher fights in Shadow of the Erdtree, you might as well get the practice in. Castle Sol is another good place to poke around, since this optional dungeon contains a few tidbits about Miquella's followers and their plan to resurrect him. Seems like that might be relevant. Of course, check out some of the fantastic YouTube creators that dedicate so much time in expanding and explaining a lot of the Souls lore, so definitely drop some recommendations in the comments. I want to know some more too. Okay, I think I've checked everything off on the to-do list before we head into the Shadow of the Erdtree. But in case I missed anything, please leave your best tips down below. I'll be reading through them as well. And don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.